Hey, yippee.
Hello there, this is Jim the Keys bartender trying to turn down the music here. Welcome to our show. We're here in Key Largo with Jenna Kelly for episode 159.
159.
Yep, and I labeled it, Psst, I want to show you something, and then I had an exclamation mark. I want to show you something.
Something.
Yeah. So I hear fucking Gloria was complaining that we weren't. I just heard that right now.
Yeah, fucking grandma.
Yeah, fucking grandma. Yeah.
FG. Hi,
Well, I'm
FG.
sorry, FG. We're back and better than ever, I think. We just started here, and I wanted to open up with this. This gentleman was Joey. Do you know Joey, the guy that
Joey,
comes in with the
yes, the older guy with the hat.
the hat? Yeah, he has a straw cowboy hat,
Yes.
and he painted our mural outside the
Yeah,
restaurant.
he's been working on that.
The Catch Restaurant. He did a nice job. So it was it was funny because he was working on it a couple days, and Holly and I were working last Friday, and he goes, "Psst, hey, I want to show you something." And then Holly and I were just standing there looking. I said, "This is so creepy, you know, right?" And I said to Joey in front of Holly, I just said, "Joey, we're not going to go outside, and you're just going to pull down your pants and show us your skinny, crooked penis."
Right, because who just says, hey, I want to show you.
Yeah, I know. The only creepier line than "Psst, come here, I want to show you something" is, "Hey, look at my penis." That's the only one that's literal. That's what, yeah, you know.
As David
Come over
Penn
here.
agrees,
Yeah.
He's loading his beer, and then he'll have a mic soon.
Yeah, no, but if someone says, "Hey, come over here in the corner, I'm going to show you something," and look at my junk, you know.
To share, and
Yes.
the one that Joe sent.
Oh.
Hey, do you want a beer?
The BL, yeah.
Oh, do you want it? Do you want? It's like a guy driving up with a. Well, we just heard that ice cream man.
Yes.
That's a big thing. But imagine, driving around with a van. "Hey, kids, you want to pet a puppy? You want to play some
Right.
puppies?"
The pedophile
You know.
band. Except for, why was the ice cream man playing lullabies? He was playing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star.
So
I was like, why am I hearing
adults would
lullabies?
fall asleep when the kids are raiding mom's purse to get the money.
To run out for
Yeah, the mom's drinking. She's drinking. It's what? It's 6:45. Mom's in her third glass of wine. They start playing lullaby and good night. The mom starts falling asleep. Junior's standing there near her purse, and he goes and says, "How long is it going to take me to get $20 bill?" It goes, "Now ice cream. It used to be 15 cents for a push-up pop, 25 cents for the really good stuff like the strawberry eclair."
Right. My
But-
mom used to, before she was FG, when she was just mom,
Yeah.
she had a jar, like in the summertime. It was like right by the back door, and she would put change in there, and
Yeah.
that was for the ice cream man. So we would be able to go steal out of that jar and get ice cream.
I've been checking, and we'll talk to it about the next episode about exchange rates. But when it comes to like milk, regular foodstuffs, they did not go up proportionally as housing, college education. I mean, vehicles stayed about the same as what percentage of what people owned and what they're finding. Well, they're going on longer term plans. Like you can get a 72-month financing for a vehicle.
84.
84 now?
It actually depends on the price of the vehicle, but you can actually take it out quite a bit. I think that vehicles over. Now, cars, by the way.
The longest-
I believe the longest term you can do on a car is 96 months.
Holy shit.
And I believe that's over 90,000. But there's cars out. I mean, I have plenty of people that come in to buy boats that have a car loan for $90-some thousand.
Well, you can barely buy a nice Suburban, a well-appointed Suburban, for less than 80, 90,000
Right.
now.
Yeah, I was going to say, I used to have Escalades. One of my last one was 65.
Yeah.
They're
And that was
100,000 now.
2002?
How do we get on this? The creeper
The
thing?
creeper. Yeah, well,
And I'm trying to.
I know, we transitioned quite
It was
fast.
pretty good. I know part of it was my fault. It was major league my fault. I would love to find out how I
You
took.
were saying you wanted to touch on the next one about
Exchange
inflation,
rates.
Exchange rates.
Yeah, exchange rates, how costs change.
Yes.
Like ice cream and all that stuff where it's $2, $3 for a popsicle, which is it's 1,000%.
Yeah, I was gonna say it used to be
1,000%. There's, I don't know. Housing could have, in certain areas, probably went up 1,000%, but food didn't really.
Unless it's from the ice cream man.
The ice cream man. The ice cream man is the highest. It's if you invested in, let's say, strawberry eclair popsicle futures back in 1973 when I was a kid, it would have probably split 6 times, just like Berkshire Hathaway or later on, much later on, Microsoft. And but we'll talk about in the next episode about Dave and Buster's, about the point exchange for gifts. That was interesting.
Oh,
but that's not the...
How did you think of the tickets?
Yeah. The other weekend, besides, since we're on the bad deals, I had a friend request from someone from Quebec. And he reached out. I assumed he reached out because of the podcast.
Oh.
Yeah. And it turned out he started talking to me or texting me in French on Facebook Messenger, and me having maybe it's been 20 years since I started texting back in French. My limited French, but I'm able to do it. My conjugation was bad, and I didn't have the accents and all that.
He understood.
He did. He was going back and forth. He kept on talking French. He kept on texting French to me, and he says, "Oh, I think the gist of it was, how are you?" Blah blah blah, back and forth. And then he goes, "Have you heard about Marcel or someone's name? I forgot the person's name.
Oh.
Marcel. Well, his name was Marcel from Quebec, and he was talking about someone up there. Have you heard about someone, so and so?" And he's offering loans. I said, "Well, you're in another country. Why would he get a loan from someone in another country?" I'm not even thinking that, but I knew right away when someone's talking about low interest, fixed rate loans, personal loans to someone over that for low processing fees,
Gotcha.
So I went back and forth with him in French. I started yanking his chain in French and stuff like that, and then I said, and then I went like this. I only speak English, and I wrote that. I wrote it back in English right at the end. I would only answer him in English, but it went on for a good about 20 texts. He kept on. It was really, really good one. He was very tenacious. I had another one. The other one before was the one that guy that called up and said, "I heard the good news. I heard they're giving money away. Mark Zuckerberg's giving money away on Facebook. You could be a winner. All you have to do is, contact them, and they'll tell you how to claim your prize."
Wow.
And I said, and I'm texting back, "Does it involve me submitting a payment?" And they go, "Well, a small amount and some information." "Oh, should my bank account information?" And they go, "Yeah." I said, "Oh, wow, that sounds like the same deal I got last month." And I got $25,000. It's pretty good. I gave them an extra $100, and they gave it to me, and the check just cleared. And I'm having a really good time. But I don't think they're going to give me another one. And the person goes, "You received money from Facebook?" Yes, for the prize, Mark Zuckerberg. I just figure I'd out crazy them.
Right.
Or they're not crazy. They're just trying to get your $85. Every $85 fee or whatever crazy fee, whenever, in order to claim a prize. It happens all the time. I get phone calls because they span the numbers. You get 305 calls, and they're calling in. I get threats. We're going to be taking legal action against you. A recorded message that we're taking legal action against you.
Of course, yeah. People get the IRS ones all the time.
Or an Indian guy telling me that the coppers, they're called the cops on us, and they're going to be coming to your house. And I said, "Well, I'm not at my house. I'm at my place of work." And they said, "Where you work?" I said, "I work in Mumbai, right where you are." I'm right down the street from you are. How else you get it? They don't know. They don't know where I am. We don't know where they are. Just because I'm receiving a phone call from them, they don't know if it's well, I guess maybe they know it's a VoIP, right?
Yeah, well,
Yep.
VoIP. It's a number that you access over the internet, and it could be anywhere in the world, and it can have a 305 area code, and
your
could show.
computer has an IP. Everything has an IP address. Internet protocol, I believe. So that's it.
Anything with an internet connection.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, that's how they trace back the pedophiles, guys that watching child porn and stuff like that.
Well, no, but these people, they're not concerned about it. They think they're getting a cell phone to someone in Key Largo or something like that. But in another language, I felt really refined for a little while until I realized the person was trying to get me. I said, "How did you think? Did you look at my?" There was something about my Facebook page that made me think that I was susceptible to a specious loan
I guess
from another
so.
a person from another country in another language. There's no French on my Facebook page unless he has an automatic translator, and it just does that.
It's probably part.
And
of
then
like
when it
robo.
translates, you know how when he translate it,
And then it's
it wasn't a robo, it wasn't
no,
a chatbot.
but robocalls, same difference. But it's probably like a robo messenger, and then you get some guy on there who's all part of the scam group and just keeps going and going.
Yeah, I guess it's a book of numbers. So because they're getting whatever they get a certain amount of percentage of it, $40 or something like that. And it's a shame because there's lonely people out there and stuff like that, and they're gonna take it. And, older people get it when you call up and you say your electric company's going to shut you off. But I really wanted to chat with this guy a little more. If I could get him on the phone, I would have talked to him. But then I just decided, instead I had a half hour of my day blown already. I figured I'd just block him. Moving on, next one, I did speak to. I met Anthony from the tattoo parlor.
Oh, you went over there.
Yeah, I just met him. And I'm going to go over there tomorrow after I teach a spin class tomorrow. So I'm going to go over there and talk to them. And for our listeners, we're going to do a live show. I'm going to see, just trying to set it up, see what we're going to do there. I don't want to say anything too early about it, but other than we will be doing it. I just don't know what day it's going to be because they're really busy right now, and we want to be able to do it so they can talk to us, and we don't want to be doing it where they're, we may have to go in later or earlier.
Right.
So we'll see what happens there.
Well, Papa Joe was thinking he would get a tattoo, so it might be kind of fun to have him being poked with needles at the same time and make him talk on that.
Yeah, I'm see that. And there's other people that are interested in going and getting it. They're not necessarily want to be on. They just want to say, oh, maybe you bring a group of people to bring tattoos in. I said, well, I'm not like trying to set a record of like having the most cars painted at the same time.
No,
and
but
shit
we
like
could
that.
definitely bring them some business if we're going over
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Mm-hmm. Maybe they can work something out for us. Everyone's looking for a deal.
Barter system.
Yeah, barter system. I get it at the bar all the time. We have very interesting people come in. Just this past weekend, a guy, I gave him a bill, and he said, well, I only drank half my drink. And I said, okay. And he goes, but I only drank half of it. I said, you said it already. What am I supposed to do with it? Pour it back in the bottle? It's already mixed. You took Crown and put ginger ale in it, a good whiskey, and put soda in it. What am I supposed to do? It's going to give someone here's a half glass of Crown and soda. And he wasn't even that lit. And I'm just looking at him and go, wow, how can you reach 35 years of age or whatever age the guy, he could have been 22, 23, but he looked like he was 35. That's the reason why I didn't call him. When you're 35 and you got crow's feet. And he just wanted to pay for the drink, the part of the drink, like a lease. He was leasing the drink.
Oh, so
Leasing the drink. Well, if you were leasing the drink, I would ask for a money up front.
Right.
Just like you would on a car.
But if you cancel your lease ahead of your contract being
I'm going
up,
to take
then
your
you pay a
pants and your
penalty.
wallet.
So,
Take your whole wallet. I thought about that time when I was chasing Moby Douche, that I definitely would be in the wrong if I took his wallet.
Well, not if it fell out of his pocket.
That's right, and it was lost.
Right.
And I said I can help him find it if he paid his bill.
Right.
And they wouldn't be like, I don't know where it is, but it could have been lost in the scuffle. And I was just thinking that now I don't have to say, well, I can help you find it.
I had a customer.
I'm really good at finding wallets.
Yesterday, I think it was yesterday. He was talking about, I sold this jet ski, and I did this and did it, and I got the same amount, but cash of what you guys would have given me for it.
Well, wait. I don't understand this.
So this guy that was, he was going to trade in a jet ski,
Mm-hmm.
right, and buy a new one. So his comment was, well, I sold my jet ski for cash, and they gave me the same thing you would have given me for it on trade. And I said, well, why would you have done that? He said, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
because
taxes,
because
right?
now you're not going to get the tax benefit for the trade value because you don't get tax.
Yeah.
You get a tax
Yeah,
credit for the difference of what your trade value would have
That's
been.
right. They would have deduct
Right.
the trade in from the value. You don't pay
Exactly.
for the tax. So whatever.
So-
what did he
so
get
then he
paid?
paid-
What was he getting?
I want to say it was like $3,000 or $4,000.
But then again, wait a second. Trade-ins are always supposed to be less than what you could sell on the show. He actually didn't do that well.
No,
Because when
no.
you sell it out on the street,
You're
you
supposed to make more.
a lot more
They-
in
they
order-
gave me
Reality,
the
and
same
at the end
amount.
of the day, he lost money.
Yeah.
Of course he did because he
But he
ended up
got-
paying.
how much
cash.
money you said he got?
I think he got $3,000 or $4,000 for it, and that's what we were going to give him.
Okay, so it's
And he-
$3,000. He had to pay 7.5%,
6%.
6%.
Yeah, in this county, it's a little different if your purchase is over $5,000.
So it's $180.
Right. But so he says, well, that guy was going to pay me cash. I said, cash? He goes, well, you guys wouldn't give me cash for it. I said, well, why would we? We would have given it to you on trade. And
You would have gotten
and
$180.
you would have gotten the tax credit. And he goes, well, cash talks. And I said, right. So what else was he going to pay you with? I mean, what other option would you have given him? And he was like, well, what do you mean? I said, well, cash. I mean, you don't take credit
Bitcoin,
cards,
Hummels,
right? So he looked at me and
collectible
said,
Hummels.
well, you don't take credit cards, right? I mean, you're not a business. So you don't have a merchant account. I said,
Yeah.
what else were you going to take? Like maybe PayPal because you have to pay for that
Yeah.
too, as you know the receiver. And so then I said, otherwise, was he going to pay you with goats and chickens?
Yeah.
And he
that's
just
right.
looked at me and
Trades
I'm
and
laughing.
services?
Like I'm laughing. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm like, well, what else did you think he was going to pay you with? Goats and chickens? I mean, of course he's going to pay you cash. You sell something on the private market. Who's going to take a check from anyone?
A stranger.
First of all, and then second, of course you're going to charge them. Like you're going to accept cash only. If somebody showed up to your house to buy your car from you, are you going to take anything other than cash?
Well, I still remember a
Or would you
Seinfeld
take
bit where Kramer
chickens?
wrote in the advertising, interesting trades will be considered. Like if you get someone's say, well, do you have, someone may have a comic book.
Right, but of course,
Or
cash,
some cash.
cash talks. I was like, yeah.
Bullshit. The old
as
cash
an
talks,
alternative
bullshit
to
walks.
What? Like really? So
Yeah, people think they're getting a better deal sometimes. I mean, with a trade-in, sometimes if you work your deal, this is what people think. If you work the deal and get the price down,
and then you throw the trade at the dealership.
and then you throw the trade.
Doesn't work that way.
Well, no, you throw the money. That's what they're worried about. That part of the deal, the money. This is their thought. Part of the money that people use to negotiate with as the seller is the profit of the vehicle that's being sold.
Mm-hmm.
So someone's trading in. I sold cars,
Right.
and let's say an IROC back in 1987 was 17,500. Right?
Did you have an REO Speedwagon T-shirt?
No, I only did it in the summer. I wasn't that. I didn't have a mullet and all that stuff. So these people thought like they came in with their crappy car, and which it would only go as an as-is sale at most $2,000. And if you sell something as is, I mean, at most $2,000, how much can you buy it for?
Right.
$1,200 maybe?
Nah.
$1,200 at most.
$500.
I know that's what it would be. So they think you're working some of the profit. Go, we'll give you $2,000 whenever you say. We'll give you $3,000 for any trade-in that you have that you drive in. And you're looking at them, and they're coming in. There's legitimately $200, $300 cars at most,
Right.
driving in the lot. And how could they give you $3,000?
Because they're charging you full price for the other car.
Yes.
It's high for high, low for low.
Yeah. High for high, low for low. And they think that you're going to give them the $3,000. The $3,000 is from the profit of the vehicle. So if they can sell their vehicle, and they think they get their vehicle for like, anytime someone brings in, it's a piece of shit car. They could be bringing in a Ford Fairlane from 1965 with no floorboards and shit, like no mirrors, and all sorts of shit going wrong with it, and they think it's worth. Well, that's worth $1,200. Well, yeah, maybe it is if you're waiting, if you need a vehicle for a heist, a bank heist, or something like that. Maybe it's worth it. One specific thing, but the general market, that's a $200 car, maybe. And they think they're going to get $1,800, and then they're going to work the best deal with the new car, and then get it done at $1,700, $500 IROC back in 1987, and they're severely disappointed because I think the most of the profit in that was like $1,700. That was the markup in it. $1,700.
I will tell you.
And then
though,
and they
that
had
a
to
good
pay.
Salesperson will ask up front, "Do you have any trades, or how much money do you have down?" Because then that's how you start with the negotiation. Because you know that you're going to have to ACV, which is the actual cash value, the value of their trade, no matter what.
Oh yeah. I'm just saying they don't bring the vehicle with them. They go and do the sale. They're working the sale. They try to get the best deal, and then they realize they'll say, "How about with the trade at the end?"
Yeah, that does.
They throw it in the last moment, and it doesn't work. He said, "Listen, we were negotiating good faith. I gave you a deal. We got down to 16.8. You know, we still have to make a profit on the vehicle." And there was a coating on the back of the cards, and it was always like $1,200 more. It was a bunch of letters, and plus $1,200 on top of the total price of the what's it's owned for.
Right.
And that's what we had it for. And it was the same thing for like used cars and things. And every so often someone's fucked up and they promise to sell a vehicle for like $2,000 under cost. You know? Because they really wanted to make a sale and they'd sell it at cost. I don't even get that part.
Yeah, I mean, it's
I don't even get the moving units. You get a unit bonus and all that stuff from the dealership. But
Anyway,
they always think you're getting ripped off, and that's why we got people calling us off, trying to act now that the blinders are off. Everyone's just trying to fucking rip you
now
off.
I can give you the best pointers ever about buying a new car. Because obviously I'm a finance director, but I'm in the marine side, right? So you go buy a new car. The best day to buy a new car,
End of the month.
no matter what, is the very end of the month. But the most perfect day to ever buy a brand new car is the very end of the year. You go in there on New Year's Eve.
Really? Is that the perfect day?
That is the perfect day. Because they don't care about the profit that they're making on you at that point. They are just trying to hit the numbered goals for units sold. And then you beat the living crap out of them and you drive away with a brand new car.
Yeah. Well, there's some people are busting those models like Tesla and the EV sales. They're changing up the way they're doing because they're doing direct sales.
Right.
They're doing direct sales. The dealership model is going by the wayside because there's so many shitty deals with that. I'm down here, as there are any place in the United States, there's some unconscionable dealerships, and they try to make money in their service department. And we did a recall work on on Abby's Cadillac. We were going to Poland about 3-4 years ago. We left it there for recall work. We got back. It was free. It was free recall work, right? And so recall work's always free. And they were going to do something about the air conditioning, and it was going to work out to be like $300. We came back. I dropped her off, picked her up. She was going to do a little shopping before she came home, and the key wouldn't come out. And it was a problem with the key. The recall work was on the key, and the key wouldn't come out of the ignition. And she drove less than a mile away, and she couldn't get the key out of the ignition. And it turned out they had to do something to the steering column, and they were going to charge us another $700, $800. And they said the problem with it is totally unrelated to the recall work they did.
Yet the recall was on the key, not coming out.
Was on the key, yeah. Was on the key because they had a problem with the weight of the ignition, of it dropping out of, because of something with the ignition that, with the weight on the keychain, any significant weight could turn the key. And I don't know necessarily what's going to happen, but they made it a recall. I think some of the recalls, I mean, they obviously have a formula for recalls. They fucking try to figure out, well, how many people are going to die with this? Well, we could pay $10 million, but if there's 5 people, then it could be $100 million, and so we might as well do a total recall on something like that. So we bitched to Cadillac, and we called all these things, and they're gone now. Sabata, Chevrolet, they were horrible. And there's a new one up there, Pearson, but the service department. Oh, look at that guy right over there, right under the grill.
What is it? I can't see.
You can't see that? Crawling over at the docks now?
No, there's a chair.
It's a rat.
Oh.
It's a rat.
Oh, that's just nasty.
Yes. Oh, Key Largo wood rat.
That is not a wood rat. They're only up north.
What's this guy then?
That's just a regular rat. You're allowed to kill them. In fact,
I'm
the
not
truly Nolan guy told me that, and he gave me a trap. They run around the docks like this because we're right by the water.
Yeah, and what did he do?
And he gave me a trap for one.
Welcome to Key Largo. We had.
Yeah.
I just saw a rat.
That's not a wood rat. Wood rats are protected.
That's the
and they're
first
real big and
rat
furry.
I've seen. I saw a wood rat at the Encore. It was huge. It was the size of a medium-sized cat.
See, when I talked to
fat
people about
native-
it, they told me they're like at 105 north. Like they don't see
I
them
swear
down
this guy looked like he was 8 pounds. And we were talking. It's funny that we were talking about shifty dealerships, and now I see a rat. Karma, right? Or karma, a sign, right? So, I guess there's come-ups, and you have to deal with that. I guess there's people down in Keys. A lot of them are, most of the places down here are reputable that you have to deal with, even though the prices are kind of high. But because we're a small community, we don't take kindly to people coming down here and jacking up the tourists that come down here, because it sets a wrong tone for people. That's why the Chamber of Commerce and the county and the Sheriff's Department try to look down on it. There's a bunch of there's a store down in Duval Street. They do lotion, and I talked about this before. You can go in there and buy. They try to sell you. Additionally, it would be an $80 to $100 skincare regimen with special lotions and stuff like that. And they get your credit card, and people walk out and they have like $800, $900, and they're soliciting people on the street and stuff like that. It's pretty big. It's a pretty big deal down there at Duval Street. And if you solicit, if you Google or go onto, if you Google the Duval Street soap guys or lotion guys or something like that, you'll get some pictures, and they look like these scuzzy-looking guys with these fancy hairdos and stuff like that. They're from I don't know where they're from, but they're just trying to lure people in. And if you ignore them, they'll call you names and things like that. They're trying to give you free samples and get you in the door. And the cost of the rentals of the properties on Duval Street is huge.
Yep.
So in order to make your nut, I don't know how a place that has maybe 5 chairs in it, and it's not a salon, it sells specialty soap, and you don't have anybody at the counter. You have to make every sale count, and it's got to be a couple $100 each sale.
Well, it does cost more to live and operate.
Yes, it does, but that doesn't
But
mean
that does not justify $800 for lotion or skincare.
It was a big deal when we talked about it. I don't know if we spoke about it recently, but I would like to go when we go down to Key West. I would like to go and do a live podcast of walking by those guys and show them how they. And then say, hey, listen, if you're talking to me right now, I'll be happy to talk with you. I'm doing a podcast right now. You can either ignore me or you could either keep on talking and I'll talk to you and we're going to talk.
Well,
And then I'll hit it with.
I've seen come across Facebook. They don't care if you're on the air, the phone, videotaping them. They just continue to do it. I've seen some of that from down there.
No, but I would want them to talk and say, hey, listen, I'm doing this. And then I said, would you want to talk to me? And then they said, well, I do. And then they tell them, I do know about you guys. And then they normally shut up when you do something like that. You say, listen, there's been accusations that you guys are practicing the bad business practices. And that when people get a credit card bill, it's $800, even thousands sometimes. It's becoming crazy. The last charge I saw when the Keys News, the woman had about $1,800 in charges. So there are nefarious people. So let's get back to restaurant and bar shit. We've had another spate of in the middle of spring break, and there's all the college kids are down here and they're having a good time. We're carding like crazy down here for them. They don't seem to drink like I remember I used to drink. They come and have a couple drinks. They order the frou-frouest drinks in the world, pina coladas and things like that. They maybe have 1 or 2, but I've seen these girls sitting there with the guys, and they just sitting there texting away, and the guy's just sitting looking at the girl the whole time.
That's the new generation.
I went on a date when I first came down here, I had a cell phone, and I'm going out with a Zumba instructor. And we went out to this restaurant, and she's sitting there texting. She goes, I'm talking to a client. I said, well, you aren't a doctor. You're a Zumba instructor. I don't see anything critical that you really have to talk to them about. You know, what their problem is. So I just don't understand how people think they're that important that they have to be constantly in contact with someone when they're on a date. And I figure when that happens, you know, the date's already over. Yeah. I've done that. I called the ball a couple times, like 2 times, when someone's texting during a date. And that may have been one because they're not having a good time. One of them expressed displeasure and goes, I don't know why you wanted to go home so early. And I said, well, we were out for an hour and a half and you were on your phone for a half hour. So if we were going to be out for 4 hours, that could be like an hour and a half. Right. So I don't get how you, I understand it. I won't, when my little girl goes out with her friends and stuff like that, they're on the phones together and they're just doing their thing. They're all doing it. But when you're with someone who's not doing it, I told my little girl, I just say, listen, you know, when you're out to dinner, you're not going to be on the phone where we're talking to each other. That's not it. You see him at the dinner. Your father, the mother, the 2 kids, they're playing on the pad and stuff like that. There's a recipe for an unhappy family. I do realize sometimes people have to do their homework and their schoolwork when they're away. It's spring break, but they're not doing it most of the time. They're just doing the playing Candy Crush or Jewel or Crossy Road or whatever stupid app is out there, and you're just ignoring the person in front of you and just playing that, pretending they're not there. Doesn't it?
Yeah, I feel like I was just doing that, but it's because I have a son who.
No, they're moving. They're getting ready to move.
Oh yeah, but he had a.
There he is.
Out.
There it is, right there.
Yeah,
there, see?
Oh God, he's like tipping over and has like a bad leg. That's really creepy. Somebody should shoot it.
Okay.
Misery in front of me.
See?
Yeah. Okay, that was the rat again.
Did you see it?
I know. I really am tempted to just go get my husband. Yeah, so just keep talking.
You were surprised by that? Just walking around. I said, oh, there he is. There's the one that's coming around here. So, what's this? And then finally, unless you have something, the thing that really amazed me the past week was there was a group of people at the bar, and the bar for being a decent person down here, or any place you're sitting in a bar, and this one person. They were just talking about what they stand for, how important it is to have values, right? And the orange person goes, I don't drink Jägermeister and I don't do cocaine.
Okay.
And that was it. It wasn't like I don't lie to women, I don't have unprotected sex, I'm always truthful to my partner. It was Jägermeister and I don't do cocaine. The 2 things. There's a whole lot of other things. You know, we did Dahmer before and stuff like that. I bet he didn't drink Jägermeister or do cocaine, but he was a pretty horrible person. Hey, you know what? There's someone over here that might like some of that cheese. Do you know that? Right over there near that, near your grill.
Little furry friend walking around the yard.
Yeah. Yeah, there was all 2.
Julie, no one's coming on Wednesday. Tomorrow.
He was here today.
You need a cat. You need to have a cat hanging around here. Or something like that. But I think that was an odd thing. There's a whole bunch of things you do. There's not 2 things, 2 particular things that you do or do not do that make you a good or bad person.
Right, just the first 2 we could think of were
Jaeger and cocaine. But I mean, you can do crystal meth.
Right.
You can shoot heroin into your penis. I think cocaine's the one you're supposed to shoot in your penis. It's supposed to make it rock hard for a while. You know? What do you think? No comment? You're just over there playing on your goddamn phone right there. You're going to feed the kitty here with anything?
Okay, all right. So this is the scenario, and I don't think these particular people even listen to our podcast, but they're regulars at Catch, and they own a local business, and my 22-year-old son works for them. Okay, so my son is moving out of state. He's moving back to be with FG, right?
Yep.
So, and both him and his twin brother, and of course my older son lives up there.
With the other twin brothers going up to be up there because of his girlfriend?
Absolutely not. Neither of them have anything to do with girlfriends. So this is the scenario.
I thought you said one was going up there for his girlfriend.
Absolutely not.
And the
One
other
of
one
them
was
doesn't
going
have
to
a
follow him.
girlfriend. One of them doesn't have a girlfriend. The other one's girlfriend lives in Canada. Okay.
Well, it's closer to Canada.
Really?
A lot closer.
Okay, sure. Do you know this is the conversation I had with the his boss's wife, right? When she decided to tell me.
Well, I'm not
one day-
defending them.
What she
I'm
tried
on.
to tell me one day was that Matthew was fucking them over by leaving their company. Well, first of all, I give you 6 weeks notice. First, the standard is 2.
It's not. It's,
And
there's no way in the world that you're fucking someone over if you give them 2 weeks
The
notice.
reason he's leaving is none of their business. But
Yeah.
he was even nice enough to share that with them.
Part of their issue is the issue with everything down here in the Keys. It's so hard to find a good employee. And when they
Right.
when someone says you're leaving and they're upset about it,
It's
it's
all of a
because
sudden
they're
his
so
fault.
valued. Well, they valued.
But then now they're treating him like shit.
They valued his work ethic and
And then
they're
abuse
pissed
it.
off, and they are.
then abuse it.
It is ruining it for them because they got a really good deal.
Absolutely. But of course they have
But you
another-
can't depend on
they
that
have
unless you're
another
going to.
employee who's a local kid. He's like 19 years old, and he called in sick. Sorry, he showed up late to 6 days.
I heard about that.
Then called in sick.
On,
and then
after St.
yesterday-
Patrick's Day.
And then yesterday,
Worked a half day.
texted in and said he had a horrible family emergency and wouldn't be able to make it in for the rest of the week. Well, this is Matthew's last week. He leaves on the 28th. Okay?
Yeah.
So therefore, the 27th would be his last day. And they're trying to push all of the other kids' job and responsibilities off on Matthew. He's trying to leave. So if he works until 3 o'clock, 3:30 every day, that's normal. You can't keep the kid there till, and I shouldn't say kid, he's 22, but you can't keep him there till 7 p.m. every night just because that's your company. That's your company, that's your job, that's your responsibility, right?
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with Matthew, and he shouldn't have to take on that extra workload.
That-
And even if they give him $50 more a week or $75 more a week, it doesn't make a difference. He still has to pack and move away.
Uh-huh.
You can't make him work 15 hours a day. It's just not okay, right? So, today, Matthew went out on his own jobs to do his own thing, and one of the new guys that's been training with Matthew,
John, I met.
Right. So Matthew hired this kid. I shouldn't say kid. He's 33. Matthew's the one who advertised the job and got the guy in, did the interview, got him hired, and has been training him. So today, the boss said, "Okay, well, you go do your own stuff, and I'll take the new guy with me, and he'll work with me." But 9:34 this morning, Matthew got a text from the new guy, basically saying, "How can you work with this asshole every single day? All he's doing is bashing you right now. Talking shit about the hardest working employee he's ever had." No, they're just mad. They're just butthurt because he's leaving. But you can't treat him like crap. And he gave you an explanation. He told you why he was leaving, but he
Wait.
didn't even need to.
Were you friends with these people?
Yes. Yes. I've helped them with their last few employees. I've helped them write their ads to get new employees. I mean, when they have problems technically, like in quotes, HR, then I would give them
It's just
some
like getting in a
very
relationship.
professional
Just like
advice.
getting in a fucking relationship.
Right.
If someone started dating, let's say your son and they had a daughter, and they started dating, they would have to start taking sides and things like that. And obviously, when people are taking, when they have their own, when they financially feel that they're threatened, right? They're gonna. I mean, I don't see how they're going to attract people. They don't. They got to be able to take the long view, say, and go like this. I think I would. The way I would have handled it would have been, you know what? Matthew was a great employee. If we can get another employee like that'd be great. He's going to be a great loss to us.
Right.
It's going to hurt. It's going to be hard to replace him. Very difficult to replace because it's very hard to find good employees down here.
But you're not going to keep a good employee by bashing your old ones.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I would say. And to go, if we can only do something like that, that's taking the long view with hiring and employment, and especially down here, and there's a lot of other places like that, in a good economy where you have a job that's not, it's a skilled position, but not necessarily a highly skilled position, where you can't. I think a lot of companies are finding now the best way to get people to buy in and to be dedicated and more of that is profit sharing and ownership.
Well, if you give them ownership, then they have something on the line if it doesn't
Yeah,
work.
there's a company, a convenience store, and they're making their way down here, and I'm thinking in the next couple of years we're going to hear from them. They have employee ownership. They give, they do profit sharing, and they pay in stocks, and they give not just pay in stocks. I'm just saying they give bonuses in stock, and you get more. The longer you're there, the more you get invested and things like that. So when they feel that they're not only invested in their particular job, that they're going to get paid. Let's say you go and make $35,000 a year, and then that the company, the fiscal health of the company, also is dependent on their bottom line. Like they get a bonus at the end of the year by doing their best to make it as profitable as possible with very little cost overruns, not wasting too many supplies, of not being a drain on the company. And then you turn that portion of that back, then people see it. But once someone becomes a paycheck employee, and down here, we use a lot of people that are paycheck employees. So you got restaurants and bars and stuff like that. People make a lot of money during season, outside season. In season, you have, right now they're having a hard time finding employees. All the major resorts, and it's almost season. It's almost, what would you say, midway through season? If we're not,
I wouldn't quite say. Well, I guess it would depend.
We are midway through season because it's an end of April is the. It's a month from now.
Our season at work and your season are.
I'm talking about where they're looking for employees in the service industry. If you're halfway through and you're still looking for people to fill positions, there's a problem with there's the money isn't good enough, the housing isn't adequate, and the opportunities are limited. So it's one of those. Pick one or pick two or pick all three. But you're not going to be able to get people to fill those jobs, and you're not, by having a robust transportation system coming from Homestead and having people willing to travel 2 hours a day or 2.5 hours, when there's tons of jobs up there too. It bespeaks a problem down here that's going to be ongoing. And it gets worse as you go further south. Because the further south you go, the more tenuous the lifeline from the mainland is, the longer it takes people to get in. The longer it gets, as you go further down, the lower paid employees are more scarce,
Right.
or the pool is more shallow. And then you get down to Key West, and then it's just crazy. You got Manhattan rent prices. It's just the cost of living is huge there. And the money isn't necessarily Manhattan money. And it's only during season. And then you can't live year-round. You can do a temporary rental and things like that. It's going to be a problem we're going to have to deal with. And I don't know how we're going to deal with it. Supposedly they talk about workplace housing in the Keys. There's people, friends, the county talks about it, and Islamorada talks about it, that you need to have affordable housing to get people down here, something in the range of $800 a month for an efficiency. You could get people at the beginning of the pay grades to start working there. But if you can't fill those spots, and where people come down here, they're just amazed at the level of service. I had people from Iowa, Manhattan, Las Vegas. Las Vegas was Monday night. A couple came in, a lovely couple, and they mentioned that Las Vegas' service is exceptional. But Las Vegas, you have 2 million people to pick from, right? Not that everyone's looking for that job in there, but it's a pool of
There's a larger pool.
a larger pool in a circular pattern around Las Vegas with a robust transportation system, and I'm sure there's a lot of options for housing, and there's land where you can put that housing that's not, it's not limited. You just go out further, and the price drops. So we're going to have to learn to deal with that down here if we want to become exceptional. We are quickly becoming down in the Keys people high-priced housing with retirees, and the retirees, they're all different pay. People that stay in lower, let's say lower priced housing, which is, God, in some other places that would be a mansion. I mean, I'm looking at a trailer across the way. How much would that trailer cost?
The one directly across
Yes.
the canal is, realistically, it's a single wide, but it's got a good lot and it's on the canal.
No, let's say we were in Midlands, Texas. $25,000.
25 to 30.
Yeah.
Down here, that's a $400,000 piece of property.
$400,000. Now this is a trailer, has an awning. It's not dumpy or anything. It's just purely utilitarian, not too flashy, and there you go, $400,000 because it's on a canal.
Yep.
And that's what we got to deal with right here. And it's probably looks like to be about a 1-1.
It might have a second bedroom, but
Yeah, it possibly could. It does. No way it has two.
they would
bathroom.
be on opposing ends. They're not on the same side. That's for certain.
Yeah, with a tiny. Yeah, you're right. Maybe it does. But that's what we have to deal with down here. And I hope this show wasn't depressing, because it started out pretty exciting with that old guy, and I have a picture of a creeper on there with that, So, but if do take heart. If someone does say, "Psst, I want to show you something. You want to look at something?" It most likely, if you know the person, it won't be a long, old, crooked penis. It could be a beautiful mural, which Joe showed us when he did that. And I forgot to say that at the beginning of the story. That Joe showed us when he called Holly and I. He was explaining all the little hidden intricacies of the mural that he had. This is we're going to do the wrap up for episode 159. We ask you, if you are listening, if you really want to help us out, review on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio. The more reviews you have, the more we get to expose ourselves to as many people as possible.
Full exposure. It's
Yep.
like the full Monty.
Yep. And we'd like to thank all our listeners that have been listening to us. We'd like to get we are big in the United States right now, but Colorado, Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, Boston, Connecticut, New Hampshire, Georgia, Alabama. I haven't reached into Kentucky, North Carolina, or anything like that. But we were hoping to make inroads. And the other countries, we would like to make further inroads in the United Kingdom, Australia, New Hampshire. Our heart goes out to people in New Hampshire, New Zealand, for that horrible attack that occurred on the mosque there. And once again, listen up for episode 160. And this is Jim the Keys Bartender. I'd like to thank Jenna Kelly. Say
Hello.
something. Hello.
Bye.
And Damon.
Good night, all.
And we'll see you on Thursday.
Thursday.